Call to order the meeting of the Greenwood Common Council on Monday, July the 17th. You would please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance, and after the pledge, please remain standing. Be led in prayer this evening by David Owens, coordinator of the Council Invocation Ministry. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we go to prayer this evening, 1 year ago today, on July 17th, 2022, Greenwood experienced the trauma and tragedy of the Greenwood Park Mall mass shooting, an event that not only involved first responders and Greenwood residents or Greenwood leadership, but also the entire community of Greenwood. At 5:56 p.m., a gunman opened fire, killing 3. His victims were Pedro Pineda, Rosa Pineda, and Victor Gomez, and he wounded 2 others before he was stopped by Eli Dickin. A new outdoor mural was unveiled this past Saturday at the Greenwood Park Mall, honoring local responders, military service members, and doctors. Drawn in the style of a postcard by University of Indianapolis junior art student Sydney Nichols, the new mural features portraits of police, fire, and paramedics, along with a doctor and a military service member. If you'd like to go by and take a look at it, it's located between T-Mobile and the Kumo Japanese Steakhouse. Before Brother Owens prays for us this evening, we're going to pause for a moment of prayer, or a moment of silence and remembrance of the victims of this shooting.
Let us turn to prayer. God of all, tonight we pause to remember. Remember 3 innocent victims. Remember 2 others injured that night. Remember a hero. Remember the bravery of officers and first responders of many sorts. Remember the calm professionalism of dispatchers. We remember our city leaders, those chaplains and others who provided guidance, comfort, and care. Thank you for pastors that led their congregations. We remember that many heroes that night, including the mall workers and shoppers and all those that had to deal with the aftermath of when the calls came through, the news broadcast started, and word traveled from family to family. God of all, tonight, not just remembrance, but resilience. That we did not just okay, we did great, and there was preparation and planning and practices by our first responders, and that we had a sense of being aware. And that night, our response was somehow ingrained that we were gonna respond and be resilient, make it through this. After that event, pride in our Greenwood community and the great demonstrations of unity and caring for each other that occurred. God of all, not just remembrance, not just resilience, but also renewal. That somehow out of tragedy, out of valleys, we resolved to take care of each other a little bit more, to pay attention to our neighbors, to listen to those that are hurting, to be supportive of those who have roles that courage and bravery and leadership in our community. And so we remember. We celebrate resilience. We are renewed and commit ourselves again to be in the family of Greenwood and ask you to lead us in that and to give us that spirit. Remember that night, Mr. and Mrs. Pinata and Mr. Gomez and others. Praise your name. Be among us in a powerful way. In a powerful way. Amen.
Thank you. You may be seated. Roll call.
Bates, Present.
Betron. Campbell.
Here.
Gibson. Here. Hill.
Here.
Hopper.
Here.
Lexi.
Here.
Pendleton.
Here.
Williams.
Here. We do have a quorum. All of you should receive copies of the minutes of our last regular meeting of July 5. Do I have a motion? Motion, Mr. Bates, second. Second by Mr. Lexi. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? Hearing none, then roll call on the minutes.
Bates.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Gibson. Aye. Hill.
Stay.
Hopper.
Aye.
Lexi.
Aye.
Pendleton.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye. Minutes are approved on a vote of 7-0 with 1 abstention. Reports, Corporation Council.
The I-70 monthly report is available on the SharePoint.
Anything from the controller at this time?
Financials are available through the website. If you have any questions.
All right. Other committee and board reports, all of you should receive copies of my report of the RDC meeting. If you have any questions, please let me know. Any other committee or board reports? All right. Seeing none, public comments. This is an opportunity we set aside for the residents who would like to address the council about items that are on tonight's agenda. And if you would like to do so, there is a 5-minute time limit per speaker, 20 minutes per topic. And if you have any handouts, you need to give a copy to the clerk's office. So if you would like to do so, please step forward, state your name and address for the record. If you're online, speak up. All right, moving on. We have some CF1s. Is there anyone here online with LLSC properties? Or here in person?
Yes,
All right,
this is Dr. Andrew Hector.
floor is yours. State your name and address for the record, please.
Okay, it's Dr. Andrew Hector. The office address is 894 Airport Parkway, Greenwood 46143. And so I got notification that you wanted some further clarification information about the SB1 that I submitted regarding the tax abatement. So first of all, I just want to say thank you for approving this abatement. I wouldn't have been able to build my office without this. And already I think, Greenwood residents who are uninsured, underinsured, or have high deductibles have already this year saved tens of thousands of dollars with my practice style. And I think that's one of the reasons why the abatement is initially approved, despite my project being a relatively small project compared to other ones you deal with. So to address the council's concerns regarding the status of job creation, I did mention in the SB1 already, we had significant building delays, unfortunately, that were just unforeseen. We had some, don't need to get into all the details, but basically after my building was being built, they had to remove brick around the entire building to fix flashing errors, had to uninstall and reinstall every window in the building 4 times before they got it right. So it's just a big kind of a construction issue for us. So that delayed our move-in date. I said here 6 months, it was actually 9 months from the anticipated move-in date, which gave us a lot less time to grow as planned. In addition to not having the time, I unfortunately had to, small practice, I run everything, had to stop seeing new patients for a period of time to monitor the building progress to hopefully prevent more errors from slowing us down even more. So anyways, that's getting behind us. So we're in the office, seeing new patients. On the form, I think what drew the most attention probably is the estimate SB1 versus the actual. I think I misinterpreted possibly on the estimated original SB1, where it says number of employees retained in salaries and number of additional employees in salaries. It doesn't really specify the salaries as being total or additional. So I think on that first form, I estimated, we had 6 jobs, $162,000 in salaries, would retain 6 at the same level and add 6 with another 162. And that led to my, if you have the form in front of you, $350,000 approximately. That's not exactly double. The actual is way I interpret the form, I think is the way it's supposed to be correct, where the top number is the current number of employees, which we did add 1, our salaries did go up from 162 to 214,000 in the course of that time frame. And we retained all 6 of our employees that we had. And so we had 1 additional employee who was just part-time. So that's why the number was 25,000. Regardless of what that number is on the first estimated SB1, I think we can hit those numbers as I specified, but the intent was actually to be total salaries of 350,000. So like I said, we're, this office, it's just me. I have a couple physicians who started working kind of part-time. We have room for a couple more physicians easily and haven't built out another 2,200 square feet of the office. So I don't anticipate any problems reaching those numbers. It's just been obviously just a slow start for the reasons I mentioned there. So I think that's about it. It'd probably be, I suppose, more beneficial to have you ask me if you have some specific questions regarding what you expect from me as far as job creation, what kind of time frame, or other questions you may have.
Are there any questions for Dr. Hector?
Yeah, you anticipating reaching the 12 total jobs?
Yes.
Soon, by the end of the year, and next
So,
year?
no, so it certainly won't be within a year. And partially on these forms, I guess there wasn't a whole lot of guidance as far as what kind of time frame they're looking for on these. My interpretation was this was, through the course of of the years, you would get to that point of the 12 jobs. I guess it'd be beneficial a little bit to know what you guys' thoughts are and what you're hoping for, what the typical business is expected to do on the job creation. I read this as where we're going to grow, not that it was like we're going to open up a new office and boom, we have 6 new jobs instantly. I certainly have the ability to grow faster. That would involve me doing things like raising rates and other things, which be another high dollar medical practice, which is not my goal here. As you can see, our total salaries isn't a lot for a medical office. So yeah, I can certainly go faster. But that may require some practice changes that I don't think is in the best interest of my model that I'm doing. So.
Yeah, so typically if you say you're gonna retain 6 jobs and add 6 jobs, the 6 jobs come relatively quickly within the first couple of years. It wouldn't be over the course of the entire 10-year abatement. So
I think that's entirely possible, again, because we still have, we have half the building at 2,200 square feet that we haven't been able to build out yet. And part of that has to wait a little bit. And in addition to the delays, we had, 2 different roof leaks and a wall leak and some things that have to be evaluated and still have, just have another engineer coming out to evaluate the building. So we still unfortunately are affected significantly by the construction defects. And that affects, unfortunately, our budget too. Got tens of thousands of dollars in engineering fees and now attorney's fees trying to correct these problems. And so worst case scenario, all that will be 1 year from now that's resolved, probably sooner than that. And I anticipate job creation very quickly after that. So let's see, it's July now. I mean, I would anticipate by the end of this year, we're not going to be looking at more than maybe another job. But next year, I anticipate we'll be in position to grow much more quickly.
thank you.
Are there any other questions? All right. A motion to
Find them in substantial compliance.
So we have a motion by Mr. Hopper to find them substantial compliance. Have a second.
Second.
Mr. Bates, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Hector.
All right, thank you.
Sarnova, someone here or online?
Yes, this is Brian Ellis. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Sarnova, and I am joined by Brooke Wallace, who is our Corporate Controller. And I believe the questions are around clarification of our CF1 2022 report filing and understand that the council has requested further explanation on the number of additional employees that we identified and the total salary number. The commitment in our SB1 application was for 33 employees by the end of the calendar year last year. We actually had 40 at the end of the calendar year. So we were ahead of what we had projected in our application. We identified 55 additional employees. And what that represents is in warehouse and distribution today, as many of you probably know, it is a very challenging environment. Our starting wage rates, we've increased them twice already in a matter of 15 months of operation. And this represents employees that we have hired and have left us in some form or fashion. We're experiencing a significant amount of turnover just due to the number of jobs in the area and the limited number of available employees. And so those additional 55 represent employees who have joined us and either chose to leave the organization because they were unhappy with the work or the environment. Many of them are employees that left us because they did not qualify for our attendance policy. They did not meet our requirements for attendance and on-time arrival for the work. So in the end, if you look to our first 6 months of 2023, our salaries are $886,000 roughly, and our total employees are 67, but we are running a current employee head count of 37, but are budgeted to be closer to 50. And again, our challenge is that we continue to employ a significant number of temporary employees until we can maintain a appropriate targeted full-time equivalent head count of Sarnova employees. But we do believe that we are exceeding what we committed to in the SB1. Does that answer the council's questions? Or are there any other questions?
Yeah, I guess my question is, so if on the original SB1, you said you were gonna bring in 33 jobs, and those were new jobs, it looks like, according to what I have in front of me, maybe that's not right, with salaries at about 1.6 million. And then you report 40 jobs, which is great. That's 7 more than when you said you were going to bring in, but the salaries are roughly $900,000 below what you said you were going to have.
Yep. So
that causes the issue.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't clarify correctly. The 886 that I mentioned, that's over 6 months. So our annualized amount for 2023 will be closer to 1.8 million. We estimate it to be 1.773 million. And the number that you see in the information that we provided, that only represented operation for roughly, we operate 3 businesses in our warehouses there. We have Boundtree Medical, which supports first responders. And then EMP also reports first responders, but it's more from a digital platform perspective. And then our Trianum Health business provides respiratory and anesthesia products into hospitals. So we had 3 different businesses that started at different times during 2022. EMP did not begin operation until the August timeframe. Trianum began in the April timeframe, and Boundtree began in roughly the June-July timeframe. So we were not fully up and operational until midway through the year, and that's why we missed the total salary amount.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? All right, thank you, Mr. Ellis.
Thank you for your time.
I'll find them to be in substantial compliance.
Okay, we have a motion, Mr. Hopper, to find them in compliance, second by Mr. Bates. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you for your time. All
Thank
right,
you.
ordinances and resolutions. Notice of intent to consider ordinance number 2323.
An ordinance to amend the official zoning map adopted by reference to Unified Development Ordinance number 2029, proposed rezoning of approximately 2.52 acres located at 3186 and 3194 West Smith Valley Road, Alberg property, sponsored by Lexi.
Have a motion.
So
Motion by Mr. Lexi, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Hopper. Any discussion? We postpone this one until tonight, right? Have some time to look at the possible uses.
Yeah, there are several when I think about that corner, and I'm trying to think about it sort of as the entire corner, because I think eventually it'll all go as one piece, right? At least that was the goal.
I think so.
I don't know if Mr. Holbrook's here. I don't know if you've ever met him.
Mr. Holbrook here tonight?
So, yeah, there are several I would exclude.
Yes.
Just really quick, we could discuss it now since we're all here. Without the property owner present, we really can't place any commitments on it. It's the property owner that would be the one that would place a restriction or a commitment on the zone map change. He was aware of the meeting. I've emailed him, so maybe he'll hop online shortly, but I don't see him in the audience today.
So technically, we can't put restrictions on it unless he agrees to those. Is that correct?
Through our city attorney may be able to help with
Yes.
this. The
Yeah.
understanding, I think, is that the owner puts them on, so you could possibly suggest things to them that the owner may place on, but you could not put a commitment without his consent, without him being here.
All right.
All right, so here would be my suggestions. All right, so clothing services, dry cleaning, a crematorium, schools, either primary or secondary, they don't shouldn't be there. Dwellings, an assisted living facility, a developmental disability facility, or a group facility, or a nursing facility. I would also say that probably, I don't know, so close to the entrance there, I would say not a fast food restaurant with a drive-through, so I would exclude that too. if it were me. Probably don't need a full service hospital there, so I would exclude that. Overnight lodging, extended stay, or a hotel, those, I would exclude both of those in that property. I would also exclude a convenience store with a gas station, and post-secondary school. Vehicular gasoline with convenience sales. I don't think I can have one there because the Shell is 10 feet away, or the Circle K, so. But if they were,
Yeah, we do have a buffer
Yeah.
of 400 feet for gas stations from residential.
but I would still exclude that probably just in case, you know, that corridor keeps going that way perhaps. The gasoline without convenience sales, and then any car care services, so major, not major, or vehicular sales. Those would be my suggestions.
All right.
It was my understanding he wants to either mixed use or condos of some sort, I think is what he told us he wanted, right? So that would still fit in with those, with his goals, so.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think his ultimate goal is to zone the property as commercial for sale. I don't think he's not getting in the developing business, but I think what he imagined, what would be nice is something of quality there, and that would not conflict with what he imagined going there.
I know we deal with rezoning of properties a lot. Typically, though, it's the buyer who's buying a piece of property who wants a rezoning as a condition of the purchase. And I think that's typically what we run across. So I'm not sure that if its current zoning would have an adverse effect on its price. If a buyer wanted to come in and was a developer and wanted to buy it, they would know they were going to be purchasing the property with a condition to get it rezoned. I mean, is that typically?
That's a way of doing it. I guess there's multiple ways to.
Yeah, well,
skin a
yeah.
cat.
I mean, but for us, though, our experience is that's typically, I think what I see is a buyer wants to purchase, you know, Arbor Home wants to buy a farm, and they are the ones that petition us for rezoning as part of their.
I would say that can happen. It is in no way a requirement of a zoning petition.
Yeah,
to
correct,
be
yeah.
a developer, and it would affect, commercially zoned land is typically priced differently from residential zoned land, so, I wouldn't
I
say
would see this, it would have an effect on the price when the county comes through and wants to widen Smith Valley Road. Yeah,
that could be yeah, I'm not sure on the.
okay,
exact
well, but
timeline on that.
the conditions that Mr. Hopper mentioned, we cannot put those on there ourselves. Technically, we have to get the, Mr. Holbrook to agree to those.
You would have to put those on his property.
Right.
Yes.
So in his absence, then we have a choice either to postpone it again or to vote on it without restrictions. Is that correct?
You could approve this without the commissioners if you would like, or you could continue to a future date.
Well, isn't there a time limit from when it comes to the planning commission, but when we have to?
I believe there is, but it's,
I think it's a time limit to file with
I think it's,
the council to adopt it.
I believe it's,
We could decline the petition and then when he finds a buyer, they can resubmit it for rezoning at that time.
right,
He knew he was here at the last meeting. I distinctly remember him.
right. Oh, yeah, he was here. Yes, he was here and he knew we postponed it till tonight.
And he knew we'd be having this discussion.
Correct.
he also called me multiple times to ask about if he needed to bring anything to this meeting. And he was in preparation and asking questions about this meeting, so he was aware of it. It's unlike him to not show up for this, so I hope he's doing all right.
Yeah, it would appear that he would know that this was an important meeting for him not to be here. It's possible that something is preventing him from being here. I would guess. So,
That I think he was hoping to get the zoning changed so that he would be in a better situation when the road was widened. And I think it's important to us to know what's going in there. And usually we do when it's a potential buyer that's coming before us.
just as I mentioned last time, our experience has also been that once it's zoned a particular category, that what goes in at that point is only if they meet all of our requirements. Council has little, if any, say so in it. As I mentioned, Mr. Gooden is here tonight. The Shell station near his house, and then the Kopetsky's Car Wash, both those neighborhoods asked the council to do something, but we could not because of the zoning situation. So zoning is important. I tell people zoning is everything. Anyway, so our options are to vote on it without restrictions or to postpone it to the next meeting. And I think at least we should consider postponing it because we don't know why Mr. Holbrook's not here tonight. So I get the impression, I don't think he would just blow it off.
Give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, give him the benefit of the doubt.
until
So,
the next meeting.
I'll make that motion.
all right, we have a motion to postpone ordinance 2323 to our next meeting. We have a second? Second by Mr. Lexi. Any discussion on postponement? Hearing none, then roll call on postponing ordinance 2323 to our next meeting, which is August the 7th, I think.
Bates,
Aye.
Campbell,
Aye.
Gibson,
Aye.
Hill.
Aye.
Hopper.
Aye.
Lexi,
Aye.
Pendleton, Williams.
Aye.
Ordinance 2323 is postponed to our next meeting. Mr. Nelson, if you could be sure, let Mr. Holbrook know that he needs to be at our next meeting. I doubt that it will be postponed again. And if there's a problem with him being here, he needs to let us know ahead of time.
Will do, and I've already been sending them some emails as the meeting's been ongoing, so you might show up soaking wet at the end of the meeting, so.
All right, thank you. All right, ordinance 2324.
An ordinance to amend the official zoning map adopted by reference to Unified Development Ordinance number 2029, proposed rezoning approximately 1.122 acres located at 1295 North US 31, the Firestone Outlot property sponsored by Lexi.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Gibson, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pendleton. Any discussion? Ordinance 2324. Anything anybody want to say? Talk to us. Tell us why we should vote for it.
Hey, good evening. Justin Zabrowski with Greenwood Plus LLC. I can give you my address as well. 4900 East Dublin Granville Road, Columbus, Ohio, 43081.
Thank you.
And thank you. And so real quick, the reason for the request of a zone map change. So we've owned the fee for this 1.12 out parcel since 1967. It's been ground leased to Firestone, and they've actually operated since then and have term through 2027 with control through options through 2042. Over the course of time, the zone map has changed. It's now currently commercial large. The vehicular care services is not a permitted use under the commercial large. What we're requesting is a change to commercial medium so that the use is a permitted use by right under the zoning.
All right, any questions? All right, thank you very much for your time. Mr. Nelson, you have something you'd like to say?
I would like to say this was favorably recommended by both staff and by the advisory plan commission. The advisory plan commission was an 8-0 vote. With this, they did recommend a commitment with it. It was a little different than the staff report commitment. And that is basically to try to, at either the present time or when they're available to do so with the restrictions on their lease, close off the closest street cut to the intersection to improve the safety of motor vehicles there. So we do recommend that with this approval from CL to CM, if you guys vote to approve that you add on that commitment. And I'm here to answer any questions if you have any about this parcel.
All right,
Which street cut is the closest?
So
Isn't there one on 31 and one on county line?
on 31, there's kind of like, there's two large ones, and then there's a third that they have access to, and it's kind of just an open pavement area, and a lot of it. I think he's pulling up a photo on the TV screen to show it, but it would be in the top northwest corner, so on the north side.
All right. Any other questions?
Was that already in?
No, we need to make an amendment.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All right, we have a motion with Mr. Hopper to amend ordinance 2324 to include the, closing the entrance to the property that was mentioned by Mr. Nelson, the one on the north
And
west corner of the property on County Line Road.
if you wouldn't mind, we did have commitment language that we had talked with.
If you will read that then into the minutes, then we'll vote on it.
Okay, it's story time. Use commercially reasonable efforts to coordinate with the city and Firestone, parentheses, WPG, apostrophe landlord, tenant in control of the site, parentheses close, the closure of the vehicle ingress egress point, parentheses, i.e. Concrete entry envelope, parentheses, be closed, fronting on County Line Road closest to the County Line Road and Highway 31 North intersection, or absent cooperation for Firestone upon owner's recovery of control relative to the property, parentheses, at the Firestone lease terms expiration or earlier termination, parentheses close. WPG/parcel owner will coordinate with city staff to execute a reasonable quotation entry closure, quotation close, plan that addresses the above reference closure request.
That's a little more complicated than what I said, but yeah, we'll go with that. So a motion by Mr. Hopper to make that amendment to ordinance 2324, second by Ms. Gibson. Any discussion on amendment to ordinance 2324? Hearing none, then roll call on the amendment.
Campbell.
Aye.
Gibson.
Aye.
Hill.
Aye.
Hopper.
Aye.
Lexi.
Aye.
Pendleton.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Bates.
Aye.
Ordinance 2324 is amended on a vote of 8-0. Any discussion on ordinance 2324 as amended? Hearing none, then roll call on ordinance 2324 as amended.
Sorry. Gibson.
Aye.
Hill.
Aye.
Hopper.
Aye.
Lexi.
Aye.
Pendleton.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Bates.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye. Ordinance 2324 passes on a vote of 8-0 as amended. All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, Council.
Thank you.
All right, first reading, there's none. Second reading, ordinance 2322.
An ordinance amending the Greenwood Fire Department merit system to change maximum age for appointment.
I have a motion.
Second.
Motion, who made the motion?
I did.
Motion, Mr. Hopper, second by Mr. Bates. Any discussion? And then roll call, ordinance 2322, second reading.
Hill.
Aye.
Hopper.
Aye.
Lexi.
Aye.
Pendleton.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Bates.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Gibson.
Aye.
Ordinance 2322 passes second reading 8-0. Resolution 2308.
A resolution declaring certain area within the city of Greenwood an economic revitalization area and qualifying certain real property improvements for tax abatement and setting the time and place for public hearing. Gateway Park 2 LLC, sponsored by Campbell and Hopper, public hearing scheduled August 7th, 2020.
We have a motion. Motion by Mr. Hopper, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bates. Any discussion, resolution 2308? Any questions for Mr. Sherman? Hearing none, then roll call, resolution 2308, second reading.
Hopper.
Aye.
Lexi.
Aye.
Pendleton.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Bates.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Gibson.
Aye.
Hill.
Resolution 2308 passes second reading 8-0. Thank you. Resolution 2309.
A resolution of the Greenwood Common Council approving an interlocal agreement with Johnson County regarding federal transit administration section 5307 public transit grant local match contribution and related matters, sponsored by Gibson.
We have a motion.
So moved.
Motion, Ms. Gibson, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bates. Any discussion? Hearing none, then roll call, resolution 2309, second reading.
Lexi.
Aye.
Pendleton.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Bates.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Gibson.
Aye.
Hill.
Aye.
Hopper.
Resolution 2309 passes second reading 8-0. New business, introduction of new ordinances and resolutions. Resolution 2310.
A resolution declaring certain area within the city of Greenwood an economic revitalization area and qualifying certain manufacturing equipment for tax abatement and setting time and place for a public hearing. National Technology, Inc., National Tool America, sponsored by Campbell.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Right after you.
I'm gonna try to get the technology to work. We'll keep it all night, I promise. Just that. Short presentation. My name is Alexis Souter. I am a Director of Client Services with KSM Location Advisors. We are a site selection and incentive consultant affiliated with KSM, which is Cat Sauer Miller. Gentleman on RDC had a question about that when we were here last week. So just wanted to clarify who I am and who I'm affiliated with. Nachi has been a client for quite some time. We've worked with them on a variety of projects, investments made here in Greenwood. And we're excited to be here this evening to tell you a little bit about some investment that we are looking to make in some new state-of-the-art equipment as they look to make an investment to continue manufacturing drills. So this project is for Nachi Tool America. As soon as we get the Start at the beginning instead of the conclusion. And with me tonight in the audience, I have Joshua Case, who's the controller treasurer for Nachi America, and Tim Allman, who is the president of Nachi Tool. So as we work our way through this brief presentation, if there are any questions, feel free to stop me at any time. And we can answer them. So just really quick, I know that a lot of you have been on council for quite some time, but for anybody who's following along at home, just to kind of give us all the same knowledge base, share with you a little bit about Nachi America. They've been a corporate citizen, if you will, here in the city of Greenwood since 2009. And even been a member of the chamber and now Aspire before that. So it's been quite some time. They're a global manufacturer of products including bearings, precision cutting tools, hydraulic equipment, machine tools, robots, and high-speed steel. In 2009, they established their North American headquarters here in Greenwood. And over there at the headquarters location, you've got Nachi Technology Inc., Nachi Tool America, Nachi Technology Center, and then sales and offices that support those entities. They are very committed, and we work with a lot of clients all over the state, all over the country. And I think that they are just really I hope that you all feel the same way, really just an exemplary corporate citizen, as they have partnered with you all as the city for many years, as they continue to grow and make continued investment here in Greenwood. They are a major supplier to Honda. So on an annual basis, at a minimum, they partner with Honda in their week of service. And over the years here in Greenwood, they have provided support for things like the Shelter for Battered Women. They hosted a food drive for the Johnson County Food Bank, and then have done a backpack and school supplies drive that has benefited the local school system here in Greenwood. Again, just for anybody who doesn't know where they are located, I want to just provide this aerial as part of this presentation that would go on record. But where this investment would occur, where this project's going to be happening is out there at our headquarters facilities there along Bushville Road. And like I said, what this project is going to allow them to do is really just expand its manufacturing capabilities. And so they are planning an investment of $13.6 million. I guess I would also would like to mention that I think this project has the potential to also have a phase 2 in addition to this 13.6, but for the purposes of what we're here to present to you this evening, and hopefully garner support for, is kind of for an unofficial phase 1, if you will. So that's going to amount to about 13.6 million in investment. They are going to be placing that in service, between now and creating the jobs associated with this by year end 2024. They'd be retaining 35 jobs, and again, this is just for the Nachi Tool America. So if the 35 sounds low to you, it's specific to that entity. So they'd be retaining 35 jobs. They would be creating approximately 5. I think that they will be, and they feel confident that it'll be more than 5 as well. But as we apply and set expectations and want to under promise over deliver, we can definitely commit to 5 new jobs at an average wage of at least $22 an hour. Again, all by year end 2024. In addition to just obviously they are highly skilled positions. Wages are above average. They've also provide a pretty robust health insurance program to their employees that at the end of the day, cost Nachi approximately $1,400 per employee. And if you kind of factor that in and add that to overall average wages, brings it up to a little over $24 an hour. So really the impact to the city here, again, 13.6 million of investment in personal property, 5 new jobs, all to be done, kind of within that time frame of year end 2024. Even with tax abatement, I know that you all know abatement very well, but again, for anybody following along at home, not a complete tax holiday. So if we just think about this 13.6 million in investment, We are requesting your support of a 3-year personal property tax abatement. There's still going to be taxes generated in just by this tranche of investment. There's a lot more equipment over there in Atchee that will continue to generate revenue for the city. So over that 3 years, they would still be paying over $165,000 in personal property taxes, even more than that if you guys kind of look at it in a 10-year term. And then once that abatement burns off, there'd be an incremental personal property tax bill of what we're estimating to be a little over $105,000. So with that said, I know that this is just an introductory presentation. You guys have to take a formal vote this evening, but we appreciate the opportunity to present this project to you for your consideration. And as we move on through the approval process, we're here this evening to answer any questions that you all may have. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate the presentation and all the information. It is helpful. Any questions on the council at this time? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, miscellaneous business. This is the second opportunity we allow residents of Greenwood to address the council concerning items that are not on tonight's agenda. So if you would like to do so, please step to the podium, state your name and address for the record. As a reminder, there is a 20-minute time limit per topic and a 5-minute time limit per person.
Hello, Dan. I'm Kimberly Ward, 616 Park Madison Court. I'm approaching you again regarding the chicken ordinance change and petition from June 6th. I did reach out to members of the council and I appreciate your responses. I did want to cover a couple of subjects. Mr. Campbell was curious about disease, specifically salmonella in relation to backyard hens. I do want to provide some links from the CDC, if you guys will allow. I'd like to email those. I think I did already to Mr. Campbell. Basically, annually, there are about roughly 1,200 cases of salmonella related to backyard hens. About 100 of those are hospitalized and very, very few, 1 or 2 deaths per year. I think those statistics are very low. I also wanted to cover salmonella outbreaks food-wise. So in 2023, so far this year, it's cookie dough and flour. And in 2018 is when the last outbreak of egg-related salmonella was found. Properly cooking your meat and your eggs, washing your eggs if you have backyard poultry, prevents that. Clean environment. You know, there are also ways that you can protect your hens by having them vaccinated. You can feed them medicated food, ferment their food, helps apple cider vinegar, keeps them healthy. Another topic I wanted to cover was a concern for avian flu and H5N1. There was an outbreak in 1997. And of all the people that got sick, half died. But until today, there have been 300 cases of avian flu since then, whereas 500,000 people die from the typical run-of-the-mill flu a year worldwide. So I just wanted to touch base again today to find out what else council needs. I did count the tally for the petition signatures. We have 500 Greenwood ones, and that's at about a month of my working towards it. So 500 is something, and I'm continually working to reach out to the public. So we have community interest. You know, the petition, I know that people are reaching out to you guys through email. So I know that's happening. What next? Or do you have any questions for me?
Any questions? Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the council at this time? All right, moving on, miscellaneous business from the council, any business? Council?
I just wanted to share with everybody, our awesome neighbors in the Sikh community, this Saturday and Sunday out at the Gurdwara are hosting a national Gatka tournament. So if you've ever seen them with their swords, it's kind of a type of karate in their community. So it's actually going to be a nationwide tournament that they're hosting this weekend. So if anyone has any interest in going out and checking it out, it's a really cool thing, little demonstrations that they put on, but this will actually be a competitive tournament. We've all been invited to come out and be a part of that celebration this weekend. So, yeah, it's at the Gurdwara.
Thank you. Anything else?
I'd like to just express my appreciation to the street department. I know that we've had several storms that's come through. This last one, there's a lot of limbs that came down, at least in my neighborhood. Probably that's the case in your neighborhood as well. So that put a lot of undue work stress on the street department and employees there. And I do know that they do a good job. And I've watched them work. And certainly helped to clean up the neighborhood, at least where I'm.
You always do a good job.
Also a reminder that August the 1st is our Greenwood Police Department's National Night Out, and it's from
Wanted to mention that this week is a Johnson County Fair, and tomorrow night is Greenwood Night. And so if you would like to, it's Greenwood Night for the Republican Party tent. So if you'd like to go down, the tent will be open from 5 to 9. I plan to be there from 5 to 9. And if I'm not there, if you show up, look for me at one of the food vendors somewhere. That's tomorrow night. So I would encourage you to go down. It's always a good time. That's tomorrow night, Tuesday from 5 to 9. Anything else from the council? Any corporation council?
Nothing for me.
Controller?
Nothing for me.
Mayor's office?
Nothing for the mayor's office.
We are adjourned. Thank you.